Now, I just want to be clear, I don't expect customers to utilize every single feature of this marketing template. That is not the point. The point of it being in a template is it's a one-stop shop where you can browse all of the features that might be valuable in your marketing template and then pick the ones that work for you. So I'm going to focus just briefly today on 3. So the first feature is the analyze content. And the analyze content is quite an exciting feature because what it enables you to do is take an existing data set. So in the case of the data set in the screenshots you can see, I took country information about tax and economy, things like GDP, birth rate, population, as you can see in the screenshots. And what I did is I built this really big spreadsheet. I think it's got over 200 countries listed in it, or 200 regions listed in it, and it's got at least 30 or 40 columns. So it's quite large. It's very, very difficult to work with in Excel. And then what I did is I copied it into a data source in Fliplet. And then what the developers have built for this feature is the screens that allow you to search and analyze this data are completely dynamic. So in the case of analyzing the content or this content, the first thing that the app does is it gets all of the columns and dynamically builds a search screen based on those columns. When you select the columns that you want and you click next, it then grabs every single record, or in this case, it's picking up every single country name or jurisdiction, and it's then giving me a list of all the jurisdictions. Now it's grouping those by continent so that the list is manageable. So basically I can go through, I can select every country in Europe, for example, or I can cherry pick a couple. And then I click next and it produces this screen. So this produces a series of cards that lay out horizontally. So as you can see, I can see Luxembourg and Switzerland side by side. And it's responsive. So on mobile, it shows me just a little bit of the next card, but on desktop, it's able to show me more of each card. And of course, Fliplet being Fliplet, the width of each card can be customized. So if you have narrow data, like number information, we could probably fit a few more cards on the screen. If instead you have text in the form of paragraphs, we can actually change these cards so that they have accordions on them, so that you see all of the information, but it's compacted and you have to expand it in order to be able to read it, which again keeps the user interface manageable. The other exciting thing about Analyze Content is it's got the ability for you to share your results. So you can easily say, hey, this is interesting, click share, and send the share link over to a colleague. So they can come directly into your results. They don't have to go through the search screen. They don't even have to log into the app. They get taken directly into the results and are able just to see what you've provided them. You've got save results, which enables you to save them to your profile so you can very quickly go and load them again. Against each entry, you've got the ability to email a copy of it to yourself, and you can also click Find Experts, which is really good in professional services or law firms. Clicking Find Experts takes you straight into the experts or lawyers directory and pre-filters it by the name of that country. So if you upload all of your experts globally, this app will basically recommend the right people for Luxembourg to them. So coming back to my original explanation of what the marketing template for, that is very much one of the features that we've added to encourage inquiries, the Find Experts button. Okay, moving on. So we've got 2 other features I'm going to show you, the assessment and the benchmark. Okay, so the assessment feature. Now, this is very similar to a quiz, we realized when we've been building assessments, with the key difference being that as you go through the series of questions and you answer them, what the results show you is different in a quiz to an assessment. In a quiz, you get a score typically, and you might get told maybe some information about each of your individual questions. In an assessment, it's generally not as simple. So in this assessment, it's a tax assessment. I go through and answer a series of questions. Based on the answers to those questions, the app then tells me if I need to complete a tax return or not. So the algorithm to determine, well, if you answered yes to this question, but no to this question, no to this question, therefore you don't have to complete a tax return, is quite different to the simplicity of, say, something like a quiz, where the result would just be, this is your score. We're really excited about assessments because I think assessments can be applied to a huge number of scenarios, such as, should I litigate? Do I need to complete a tax return? What should I do if I'm told about a privacy breach? There's lots of assessment reasons. And moving on, I'll just wrap up. An assessment similar to the analyze content has email your results, request assistance, which sends an inquiry through to the right part of the organization that produced the app, basically telling them Ian Broom has done your assessment. He's been told he needs to complete a text return and he's requesting assistance, AKA a lead is generated by the app. And then, of course, you've got the ability to share online. Now, sharing online, it may or may not be appropriate. Again, in the form of a marketing app, it may be appropriate to share the outcome. Alternatively, it may not. And if it's not appropriate, you can always turn these features off. So that's the assessment. Now let's talk a little bit about the benchmarking. The first thing about benchmarking is you'll notice the interface looks very similar to assessment, and that's intentionally done so that when customers are modifying the marketing template, they have to learn how to modify this style of screen. But once they've learned how to modify this style of screen, it's very quick for them to therefore build an assessment, a benchmark, a quiz, a decision tree. They all operate of a very similar design. Okay, so the benchmark is the same as a quiz or an assessment, with the exception that after you answer each question, it tells you how you compare anonymously to all of the other users of the app. So in this case, it's asking me, am I a company director? And I think I said no. And it's saying, well, you've said no. And the two other anonymous users of this app, one of them said yes, one of them said no. So I'm therefore able to sit there and say, oh, okay, the majority of the other people taking this benchmark are similar to me. There's only one person that is not similar. The benchmark feature supports not only any type of question you would want to put into it, but it also supports any type of data visualization, such as a chart. You can also analyze the answer and provide a written description if that's what you would prefer. In our experience, most customers have preferred to put in a bar chart, a column chart, a pie chart, maybe a line chart. And yeah, this has been very good at giving people very rapid feedback. They provide us with data, the app instantly gives them something that they can hopefully use. So, so they're three of the features that are coming out in the new marketing template. Other aspects of the marketing template, so we're optimizing how the template gets loaded with content. So previously with Fliplet templates, you've sometimes had spreadsheets, but a lot of the times you've actually had to load the content via admin screens or forms directly in the app. Fliplet has evolved our process. So not only are we providing a spreadsheet template for all of the structured data for the marketing template, but we're also going to provide Word document templates for all of the interactive features. So for example, let's say that you have interest from a stakeholder to do an assessment or create an assessment in the app. The problem is you now need them to provide information for the assessment. And that means you have to explain to them what format you need the information in, best practices, etc. We have produced Word templates that enable you to just send the Word template over to the stakeholder and say, hey, you've asked for the assessment feature, read this Word template, fill it in, send it back to me. I'll then be able to load your content in very quickly and give you the assessment that works the way that we need it to. So we think that the Word templates are going to be a really, really popular feature, mainly because so often marketing teams or IT teams are involved in the creation of apps, but they are not the people who provide the content. Okay, data load. So as I've already mentioned, once you upload data into the Analyze feature, it automatically builds its search and analysis interface. We think this is going to make it really fast to take existing data sets and build really interactive and beautiful apps on top of it that aren't overwhelming or complicated to use. The app's also going to include some built-in promotional features. So one of the things that we've noticed customers have struggled with is they have wanted to effectively promote their new app, but struggled to produce good-looking emails. They've struggled to convey succinctly what the end user should do to effectively engage with the app. They've struggled to communicate the benefit of the features. They may have focused on the functionality instead of the benefits to the end user. So we are building in a new communication admin UI. This is only for app admins, and it enables them to invite one or many people into the app. It also isn't restricted just to email, but it also supports SMS and push notifications. So it can also be used to remind users, we've recently updated our analyzed content. 50% of the content has now been updated. We recommend you go in and rerun your searches again. And you can now just very quickly send that notification out to your users via the communication admin UI. A lot of the admin screens in Fliplet will also automatically send notifications now based on users' preferences. This includes things like news, reference contents, events, etc. So when you upload news or events, you can tell the app, I want you to go and tell people about it, and it will automatically send a notification to them. We believe that this will dramatically increase engagement and also give a very, very simple way that when people are uploading new content, they can easily notify other people that it's available and ready for them to look at. I've already mentioned, but the app will save results. So it'll save the results from the assessments, the benchmarks, the quizzes, the decision trees. You can save your search results. We believe that this increases the app's personalization and benefit to people who want to use it as a reference tool. A lot of marketing teams have wanted to be able to import their RSS content. We have now added a screen that allows you to do that. So you just put in your RSS feed URL and you tell it which data source to import to. You click a button and it does the import. It automatically skips duplicates. So there's no risk that if you run the import twice, you're going to end up with duplicate content. It makes kind of rapidly loading existing organization news into the app really fast. And it's worth pointing out that quite a few of these features at the moment are what we consider to be low code. That means that you will need some technical capabilities to be able to use them. Now, the good news is most of them are really just HTML. You just need a little bit of HTML knowledge. Our intention is in Q4 to actually replace the features with some new interfaces that we're building, which will in turn mean that it actually goes back to being no code. But until then, it's a low code. Well, some of these advanced features are low code.